Amina was a cheerful girl, full of life and laughter. Her days were filled with joy as she played with the other children in the village. When Amina laughed, the sun seemed to shine even brighter, casting a warm glow over everything. "Amina, you are like a ray of sunshine," her mother often said with a smile. "Your laughter makes the world a better place." Amina lived with her parents and two younger siblings, a brother named Omar and a sister named Layla. They had no idea about the power Amina held within her. One day, as Amina played with her friend in the meadow, the sky was a brilliant blue with not a cloud in sight. Her laughter echoed through the air and the sun shone down warmly on the village. "Amina, catch!" Layla shouted, tossing a ball to her sister. Amina caught it effortlessly, her face beaming with happiness. "I got it, Layla!" Amina laughed. The meadow was filled with the sound of children's laughter, and the sky remained clear and bright. However, Amina's gift was also a curse. Her emotions controlled the weather, and when she was upset, the consequences could be dire. One morning at school, Amina's friends teased her relentlessly about a small mistake she'd made during class. "Look at Amina! She can't even draw a straight line," one of them taunted. Amina's face flushed with embarrassment and anger. She clenched her fists, trying to hold back her tears. As her emotions spiraled out of control, the sky darkened and a thunderstorm began to brew. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, startling everyone in the village. "What's happening? The weather was perfect a minute ago," a villager exclaimed, looking up at the sky with wide eyes. "It must be Amina again. We need to talk to her parents," another villager said with concern, whispering to her neighbor. At home, Amina's family experienced the full brunt of her uncontrollable powers. Her parents were shocked and worried when they learned about her abilities. "Amina, you need to control your emotions. The whole village is affected by them," her mother pleaded, her voice filled with worry. "I don't know how," Amina cried, tears streaming down her face. "I can't help it." Her father knelt down beside her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We will find a way to help you, Amina. We promise." Despite her parents' assurances, the villagers began to avoid Amina. Whenever she walked through the market, people would whisper and point, keeping their distance. Amina felt isolated and misunderstood, adding to her emotional turmoil. One day, while walking back from school, Amina overheard a conversation between two villagers. "Did you hear about the storm last week? It was because Amina was upset again," one villager said. "That girl is a menace. We should do something about her," another villager replied, shaking her head. Amina's heart sank. She felt like a burden to her village, and the weight of her emotions grew heavier. She ran home, tears streaming down her face, and locked herself in her room. Despite her best efforts, Amina struggled to keep her emotions in check. Every little upset led to a storm, and the village was growing anxious. The villagers murmured among themselves, casting worried glances at the sky whenever Amina was around. The village council held a meeting to discuss the situation. The room was filled with concerned villagers, all whispering and talking over one another. "We must find a way to help Amina control our gift, or it could destroy us all," the village elder declared, his voice booming over the crowd. A wise elder suggested teaching Amina how to control her emotions through meditation and mindfulness. Amina, you need to find peace within yourself. Only then can you control the power you hold. The elder advised gently. But how do I do that? Amina asked, her voice trembling. Through meditation and mindfulness, the elder replied. Every morning, you will sit quietly, focusing on your breathing and calming your mind. I will guide you. The next morning, Amina began her practice. She sat cross-legged in the meadow, the elder sitting beside her. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill her lungs. Focus on your breath, Amina. Let go of your thoughts and just be present, the elder instructed softly. Amina tried to do as he said. It was difficult at first, but with each day passing, she found it a little easier to calm her mind and focus on her breathing. She could feel a change within her, a growing sense of peace. The elder introduced Amina to various techniques to help her manage her emotions. They practiced deep breathing exercises, visualizations, and even yoga. Amina learned how to ground herself when she felt overwhelmed and how to release her emotions in a healthy way. Remember, Amina, your emotions are powerful, but you have the power to control them. The elder reminded her during one of their sessions. Amina's family supported her every step of the way. Her mother would join her in the meditation sessions, while her father encouraged her to practice mindfulness throughout the day. Even Omar and Layla tried to help by keeping her spirits up and avoiding anything that might upset her. As weeks turned into months, Amina's progress became evident. The storms grew less frequent and the village began to notice the change. The villagers, who had once been fearful and wary, started to regain their trust in Amina. They could see her efforts and the dedication she had showed in mastering her emotions. One day, a villager approached Amina's parents with a request. We have a drought and our crops are dying. Do you think Amina could help us bring some rain? The villager asked, hope shining in his eyes. Amina's parents looked at her and she nodded with determination. I'll do my best, Amina said confidently. She went to the meadow where she usually meditated and focused on the need for rain. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and let herself feel the desire to help her village. Gradually, the sky darkened, but this time it was a gentle, nurturing rain that fell upon the fields, reviving the crops. The villagers were amazed and grateful. They began to see Amina's gifts in a new light and appreciated the blessings it could bring. Amina felt a sense of accomplishment and relief. She was no longer a burden, she was a valuable member of the community. Just as Amina was starting to gain control over her emotions, a sudden event threatened to undo all her progress. One afternoon, while playing near the river, her best friend Sarah slipped and fell, hitting her head on a rock. Blood trickled down her forehead, and she lay motionless on the ground. Sarah, are you okay? Amina cried, rushing to her side. Her heart pounded with fear and sadness, tears streaming down her face. The sky above darkened and a massive storm brewed. The fiercest storm the village had ever seen, raged with torrential rain and powerful winds. Trees swayed dangerously and the river began to swell, threatening to overflow its banks. The villagers and Amina's family rushed to calm her down. Amina, remember what you've learned. Focus and breathe, her father urged, his voice steady and calm despite the chaos around them. Amina closed her eyes, trying to block out the storm and the fear gripping her heart. She took deep breaths, recalling the techniques she had practiced. She focused on calming her mind and heart even as the storm raged on. "Focus, Amina. You can do this," she told herself, a voice trembling but determined. Sarah's condition was critical, and Amina's emotions were in turmoil. She felt a deep fear of losing her best friend, mixed with guilt and helplessness. The storm raged on, reflecting the storm in Amina's mind. "Amina, breathe. Just breathe," her mother said, holding her hand tightly. Amina tried to focus on her breathing, but it was difficult. The storm was so intense, and her emotions were so strong. She looked at Sarah, who lay unconscious, and felt a wave of despair. Then she remembered the elder's words. "Your emotions are powerful, but you have the power to control them." With renewed determination, Amina closed her eyes again and took a deep breath. She visualized the storm inside her mind, imagining it calming down. She saw the dark clouds parting, the wind slowing, and the rain becoming a gentle drizzle. Slowly, the storm outside began to mirror the calm she visualized. The rain lessened and the winds calmed. The villagers watched in awe as the sky gradually cleared, the dark clouds dissipating to reveal the bright blue sky once more. With great effort, Amina managed to control her emotions and the storm dissipated. The sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm light over the village. Amina sat calmly, her breathing steady and her heart at peace. Sarah was taken to the village healer, who tended to her wounds. Amina stayed by her side, feeling a mix of relief and exhaustion. She had done it. She had controlled the storm. "We are so proud of you, Amina. You've done it," her mother said, hugging her tightly. "You've saved us all." Amina's gifts, once seen as a curse, became a blessing for the village. She learned to use her emotions to bring balance and harmony. When the village needed rain during a drought, Amina would bring gentle showers. During festivals, she ensured the sun shone brightly, filling the day with joy and warmth. "Amina, can you bring a little rain for the crops today?" a villager asked one morning. "Of course," Amina replied with a smile. She closed her eyes and focused, feeling a gentle peace within her. Soon, soft rain began to fall, nourishing the fields and bringing life to the plants. Amina's journey taught her the power of self-control and strength within her heart. She played with her friends under a clear sky, her laughter echoing through the village. One day, as the village prepared for a big festival, Amina made sure the weather was perfect. The sun shone brightly and a gentle breeze blew through the air, carrying the sweet scent of flowers. "You've done it again, Amina," Sarah said, giving her friend a warm hug. "The weather is perfect, just like you." "Thank you, Sarah," Amina replied, her heart filled with happiness. "I couldn't have done it without everyone's support." In a world where emotions could change the weather, Amina brought peace to her village and herself, becoming a symbol of hope and resilience. The villagers no longer feared her powers, but celebrated them, knowing that Amina's emotions could bring both challenges and blessings. Amina's relationship with the villagers improved dramatically. They began to include her in their activities and sought her help in various matters. They appreciated her efforts to keep the weather in balance and recognized the importance of supporting her emotionally. Amina also learned to forgive those who had once taunted her. She understood that fear and ignorance had driven their actions, and she chose to focus on the positive impact she could make. The villager elder continued to guide Amina, helping her refine her techniques and deepen her understanding of her powers. He taught her that true strength lay in inner peace and that mastering her emotions was a lifelong